Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the last episode of 2021 of Explode Your Expert Business Show. And this is the show for coaches, speakers, and trainers who want to grow their businesses while making an impact in the world. I'm Simone Vincenzi, your host, and today we are also live on my Facebook profile as I'm doing the roundup of the year. Every year, I reflect on some of the biggest lessons that I get from the year. I use it as time to reflect, and I think it's a very therapeutic kind of podcast, which is why I like it. I also have a very special announcement I'm going to make at the end of the episode, so stay tuned because the ground is going to be shaken. Dun dun dun! Now, having said that, let's get straight into it. I'm going to share my 5 plus 1 because apparently it's a good marketing term, just doing like 5 plus 1, a bit of an expected twist, right? You see, I'm already teaching you. Anyway, my 5 plus 1 lessons that I got in 2021. If you're watching the replay on Facebook, just make sure you put hashtag replay so then I know who you are as well. And if you have not subscribed yet to the Explode Your Expert Business Show, make sure you subscribe right now so you don't miss any other episode. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe on the YouTube channel as well and turn on your bells for notification and like the video. I think I went through all the housekeeping, so let's get into it. First lesson, um, health over everything. Health over everything. Um, I'm young, I'm fit, I'm healthy. Never had to deal with a lot of physical, mental challenges before. Uh, at least to the level that I've experienced this year is not true. I had physical challenges, I had mental challenges, but not to the level that I had to experience that I had experienced this year. And for me, this year it felt as being like a year where everything almost stopped, from a mental point of view, and from a physical point of view, and also from a digital point of view. So let's look at these three parts. The first one, from a mental point of view, I've been pretty quite public actually around summertime, where basically I spent at least 6 months of the year struggling with anxiety, depression. Like, it was the very first time in my life where I couldn't even get myself to open emails. It was a surreal experience. I think I now understand also way better how tough it is to live with that. Fortunately, I got support. I got out of it, but that was the first time where I had very little control over my mind. And before, it never happened to that extent. Never happened to that extent. I had depression before, but not like this. And so I felt that basically 6 to 7 months at least of this year, it felt like living in hibernation. And there were two things I didn't do. I 2020, it was I pushed like crazy. I pushed like crazy, pushed like crazy. We had one of our best years in business. I think it was my reaction also to the lockdown, to the pandemic, and everything else. And then it all came down crashing in 2021. So, my lesson here is that health over everything. Because while I was struggling also with my mental health and coming back from it, then I also broke my ankle. You know how much sport is important for me. If you've been following me for a while, I played basketball. I'm a very active person, and I couldn't do anything for months while I was recovering. And that was devastating. On the other side, while everything was happening, then also on the digital point of view, my Facebook account got hacked, lost all the connection, lost all the contacts, lost my business manager, lost my Instagram account. So when I say health, and that had a negative effect again on my mental health, right? That's why I'm mentioning I put in the category of mental health here. So health over everything. If there is one thing I've learned this year, I spent a lot of money on myself. I spent a lot of time on myself, and the business was a second thought. So I've been now in business for 10 years. This is my 10th year in business. I'm 33 at the moment of this recording. Started when I was 23. And before, until 2021, business was the number one priority in my life. No word of a lie. Then this year things change. I became the number one priority of my life. And if there is one thing I've learned is that health over everything. Where I can push as much as possible, but then when things break, they break. And there is no business. There is nothing else. There is no friendships. There is no basketball. There is no other things. And so my commitment from this lesson is to keep prioritizing myself, to keep prioritizing my mental health, my physical health, and well-being, because my business depends on it. People in our community depends on it. My family depends on it. I depend on it. So myself first. Myself first. So health over everything. That was the first lesson. Second lesson: stopping is not an option, but taking a break is. So stopping is not an option, but taking a break is. Have you ever felt like you just cannot stop? I got too much going on. I got my family here. I got my business here. Priorities everywhere. Everyone wants a piece of your attention. And the more actually your business grows, the more difficult, and the more known you are, the more difficult is to manage also that part. And then you feel like stopping is not an option. And I agree with you. Stopping is not an option if you have dreams that you want to achieve, if you have goals, if you want to create something meaningful on this planet. Stopping is not an option. No, I think we can see it every day. If you're a parent and you have kids, stopping is not an option. Your kids depends on you, right? But taking a break is. Taking a break is an option, and is a necessary option that we all need to prioritize, that we all need to take, because it's that break that is going to get us over whatever slump we are in. And so whenever you feel that you're pushing, and things are not happening in the way you want, take a step back, take that break. So that's been my second lesson from this year. Because in that case, I didn't want to stop. So even if I was going through all these challenges, depression, anxiety, broken ankle, Facebook deleted, and all that, I kept going for what I could do. Said, you know what? If I can just do one thing today, I'm doing so. Stopping wasn't an option, but I was taking breaks. And for me, I think I took a 7 month break this year. That's how it feels like. To the external world, it doesn't feel like that. But internally, for the pace that I'm used to and what I've been used to accomplish in a year, and the external output that I put out, that felt like a very long 7 month break of the year. And the rest has been productive, as my definition of productive and meaningful. So, the second lesson is stopping is not an option, taking a break is. Now, let's go to the third lesson. Third lesson is that social media is only half of the game. Social media is only half of the game. What do I mean about that? Social media is a great platform. It amplifies our voices, it amplifies who we are. It gets us to connect with people all over the world from this. However, social media is only half of the game because you don't own social media. And I've been talking about this for actually years, about the importance of building your own list, about the importance of owning the data of your traffic. However, this year I think it became incredibly real, and I was glad and grateful that I've actually not based my entire business based on social media. Like there are people that are running their businesses right now. The moment you take away one or two social media platforms they are on, they lose everything. You are talking from millions to zero, from hundreds of thousands to zero, to thousands of zero. So make sure you own your audience. If you have not focused on building your own database, your own mailing list, your own community that is independent from social media, then your business is at huge risk because you never know. On one side, remember that they are private companies, right? So you can say the wrong thing. We've seen people expressing their views about the pandemic, their account completely being shut down. So there is a very limited freedom on one side. Even the perception is that there is a lot of freedom, but actually is a bubble. It's a bubble and it's a controlled bubble. So that's one. Second thing is also that the moment this private company that goes down or they decide to change their plan, or maybe you are victim of a hack, like it happened to me, where you lose everything, what are you going to do then? And so for me, the blessing was that we already actually had a very engaged email list. I've been emailing my list every single day for the past 6 years. And this work that we have been doing consistently, that is what made the difference, is what got us actually to lose basically no revenues at all, despite losing more than 14,000 followers, right? Now, is it more difficult to get sales? Yes, absolutely. You can take away 14,000 people, that the things become way more difficult, right? However, by owning your list, by owning your audience, that's where the game is at. So social media is only half of the game. If you're only focusing on social media, you're missing out massively. Make sure you build your own list and you focus on nurturing your list, whether with weekly, if not daily content, with daily emails or weekly emails, couple of times a week, whatever you do, but that personal contact that you have with them is what's going to make the biggest difference in your business. So that's lesson number 3. Social media is only half of the game. Make sure you focus on building your own assets. Now, let's go to lesson number 4. Lesson number 4: who you know is everything. Who you know is everything. What do I mean? It's that at the end of the day, things come and go. We've seen businesses rise and falling. You might decide that what you're doing now is not what you're going to do in the future. You might decide that maybe what you're doing now is not going to work anymore in the future. So what is the biggest assets that we have? Is our network, is our connections. Despite everything that happened this year for me, the people that stepped up, the people that offered help, the people that I could call and they called me, that I could rely on, they were the people that kept me in the game. Because I was, I mentioned, stopping is not an option, but taking a break is. I was that close to stopping. I was that close to just like give up everything, literally. I might told where even like to shut down completely my company, like, and I knew it was because I was in that particular state. So fortunately, I had the lucidity not to take any actions while I was in that downward spiral. But the people that kept me sane were people in my network. And the people that helped me out, even after the social media hack and everything that happened, or to keep me up and to make sure that actually I kept serving, we kept improving, we kept showing up for our clients and so on, it was the people in our network. So whatever you're going to do now, as I mentioned, it might not be what you're doing in the next few years, right? But the people that you know now and the people that are close to you, that really care about you, that have your best interest at heart, that they understand business like you, they are the biggest assets that you have. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in our community, in GTeX community, how people, our clients have shown up for each other. They showed up for me when I needed it. They showed up for each other, for the other team members. And that's the real magic in business. So everywhere you go, don't look and just creating and building a business because of the numbers that you have, the numbers of followers, the income that you have. Yes, of course, they are important because that's how business is measured. But what really are going to keep with you are the network and the relationship that you're building. So also spend time nurturing those relationships, because that was my biggest mistake. What I was doing, I was like achieving something and then next, meeting someone and then next. But while I was taking my break this year, that helped me reevaluate everything. That helped me reevaluate how I interact with people. And of course, a part of that is a character. It's not that I mean bad. I'm just the kind of person where um, if you don't call me, I think we're fine, right? And but if you call me, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be the first one there. If you need help, I'm gonna be the first one to show up. But I'm not the kind of person who normally touches base with people and say, "Hey, how you doing? Let's meet up." But like, I got shit to do. I'm just going at my pace. But this time, because I took that break, that helped me also reevaluate and put more practices into my daily life, or touching base with people, reaching out to people, say, "Hey, how you doing? Why don't we meet up for a coffee? Why don't we meet up for a tea? Why don't we just have a Zoom call? And that's something I've not done in the past. And I know some people are great at this. This is my lesson. So that's what has been the stretch for me and improvements for me. So who you know is everything. Now let's go to the final two, because I got number five and then the plus one, and then the final announcement, the special announcement at the end that I mentioned. The number five is understand your times, win in business. Understand your times, win in business. I think that if you really want to be successful in business, you really got to be successful at understanding the socio-economical dynamic in which your business operates. I think sociology, philosophy, psychology are actually the biggest studies that you can put if you want to become great in business. Why? Because business is about humans, business is about people. And people interact in different ways depending on the environment they're in, depending on the historical time, depending on the challenges that are around them, depending on the level of consciousness on the planet that there is. And I was looking at my so many of you might not know, but I tried I promise, I tried university, right? It didn't work out, but I tried for a few months. And what I did was philosophy. And I thought that other than the fun that I had there, because I had a lot of fun, that's why I didn't have good grades, because I was having too much fun. Apart from the fun that I had there and the people that I met, I consider it almost like a waste of time. Like for me, it was just something I was doing to make my parents happy, because my mom in particular and my grandfather, they really wanted me to study, and so I was like, even if though I had a full time job and so on at the time, I decided to do it. But philosophy is what gave me, and that year of philosophy and the studies that I did and the passion that I have for understanding human mind and the human thinking in that case is what gives me the edge that I have in business. Because when you're able to communicate to the times that that people are experiencing, that people are facing, having a pulse of what's going on around, that's will help you understand your development of your product, of your services, your marketing messages, what people are responding to, what people are not responding to. And so understanding your times, win in business, that's the biggest thing. Spend some time to research or watch some videos on YouTube, even if it's not the thing you're passionate about. Like, you don't have to be passionate about this, but at least have an understanding about what is the time in which we are living in, what are the common patterns that people are experiencing, what are the common challenges that people are facing, what are the common desires that people are looking for, how are the generations evolving. And I think like Simon Sinek is a brilliant person to follow, to have an understanding. Like, he has a great pulse and a great way of explaining our times. Daniel Priestley, on a business level, I think he has a really great pulse on what is happening. And these are some of the sources that I use in terms of, on top of my own observations as well of reality, to really understand this game of business. And so remember, understand your times, win in business. If you understand the time, the socio-economical situation and political situation in which your business operates, whether it's on a local or a global level, you're in. You're winning. You're winning because you always would have the right product, the right message for the right people. And that's what makes the difference in terms of service and business success. So now let's go to the plus one. That's the plus one, the bonus one. Um, don't fight your season. That's my plus one. Don't fight your season. I felt incredibly bad about not being able to show up in the way I know I can show up. Like this right now, for example, right? I had no energy. I wasn't bothered. As I mentioned, I wanted to close down what I was doing. I wanted to spend my day in bed watching movies and Netflix. I didn't want to do anything at all. I didn't want to open my emails. Didn't want to do that. And I was fighting it. I think what made things worse is that I was fighting with the idea of how I was, or what I could be, or what I'm normally used to, without understanding that for me this year, I think, in hindsight, was the season of self care, the season of self reflection. I spent the past 9 years in business giving, giving, putting things out. So it was a lot of external energy that was put out. And this year for me was the year of internalization, was the season of internalization where I just to sit with myself, fighting my demons, understanding what was important for me, creating a new paradigm for how I'm going to operate for I think the next 3 to 5 years, and redefining what's truly important for me if the business is taken away. Because I think that the season that I had before was a season of business. Like there was the season of the creation of something, improving myself. I've proved myself. I feel like, of course, there will always be something that I want to prove and that I want to make and create. I think that comes with my background and the history that I had and so on. But I think I went to the point where I was happy with what I proved to myself. And what if business is stripped away from me? What is my identity? Who I am? What am I left with? And that's something I'm still working on. I haven't found the solution. I haven't found an answer yet. I think I'm getting there, definitely way better. But don't fight your season. Sometimes you will have those seasons like I've experienced this year, where you might have a season where you're going out there and you are excited 100%. You want to create, 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 make, do, do, do. And then you will have another season where either you will feel like doing it or life will force you to internalize everything and spend years restructuring the way you are wired and the way you work. It's not easy. It's, from experience, it's a painful process, but it becomes a necessary process for what we are here to create next. And so my plus one is don't fight your season. Because as we said, you can, maybe you don't want to stop. Maybe stopping is not an option. But taking a break is. So let me just recap all the main points. So this is my 5+1 biggest lessons before I give you the final update that I mentioned at the beginning. Number one, health over everything. Number two, stopping is not an option, but taking a break is. Number three, social media is only half of the game. Number four, who you know is everything. Number five, understand your times, win in business. Bonus six, the plus one, don't fight your season. So, first of all, I want to thank everyone for being with us this year, for listening to the show, for listening to the podcast. Even if you listen to or watch one episode, or 100, or 50, or 20, or two, I want to thank you for being part of it. This project will not exist without you, and that's why I'm doing it. Is a way for me to give back, is a way for me to connect as well with incredible people, to connect with you, to keep you entertained and give you value as well. So thank you. This is a podcast that we've been running for, and that has been I think 4 years now, almost 400 episodes published, right? So something that I absolutely love. Now, this is the announcement though, that we are actually going to change the name. We're going to change the name of the show. I haven't decided the name yet. You will see with the updated content next year, but this is the last episode of 2021. When we are starting with the first episode of 2022, you will see a new name of the show, and I will probably the first episode is going to be definitely an explanation about why the new direction is going to be, what the new direction is going to be, what you can expect from the next show, and what you can expect as well from our guests, from the content that we are going to provide, the plans that we have for the year. So I'm taking this time actually to reevaluate everything because, as we said, we have made a lot of changes. I just did a video, private video in our community with all our clients, explaining also the direction that we are taking with GTeX next year. And with that also changes the direction of the podcast. We will still be here, just with another name. same face, maybe a bit less hair or a bit older, but it's still going to be me. We might have also some extra. I'm playing with the idea as well to have a co-host for the show, so we can have even for the solo episodes we can have some back and forth, and that's what you can expect next year. So that's my final announcement. Having said that, if you are listening to this episode before Christmas, I wish you a fantastic Christmas. If you're not celebrating Christmas, I wish you a fantastic holiday season and wonderful start of 2022. And I mentioned also in the video that I did with our clients, I'm not here to say how may 2022 be your best year yet. I think I became a bit cynical about that after the year that we had, the few years that we had. But my wish for you is that you can, the moments where everything is going well, enjoy, ride that wave, really be present, soak it up to the fullest. And when you have challenges, may you be stronger of all the challenges that are going to come your way, overcome them, show them who's the boss, and then remember that remember why you're doing what you're doing, right? If you remember why you're doing what you're doing, really connect deeply with your why, you will find that dig deeper and you will find that extra energy and that extra push that will take you over the edge and make you a better person. Make you a better person in your business, make you a better person in your industry, make you a better person with your family, and my last thing is that always show up for your community. Community is here, as I mentioned on point number 4. Who you know is everything, and show up for the people that you love. Show up for the people that you care about on a personal level and on a business level, because that's the way in which we can grow. Because together we grow exponentially. I'll see you next year. Ciao.